This planet is so astonishing that if we try to see all its details, our minds would simply explode. There are places on Earth so remote that if we wanted to visit them, we'd need to spend tens of thousands of dollars, get countless permits, and, in a way, gamble with our own lives. And then, there are places that aren't even remote, but still inaccessible, like Area 51 in Nevada, a place we simply cannot reach. Hello, in this video, we want to explore locations on Earth that are truly difficult to access, and in some cases, completely impossible. There's a place in northwestern Canada known as the Nahanni National Park Reserve, a beautiful national park with an even more beautiful waterfall. This park is essentially a huge valley, and it has another name too, the Valley of the Headless Men. So, how do we get there? If we knew, we'd already be on our way. This region lies in a very remote part of Canada. There are no roads, no pathways, not even trails. No way to reach it, except by helicopter. So how do we go? Well, we don't. People like you and me aren't allowed. Only environmental experts with loads of permits and long waiting lists. So, visiting won't be easy. But what's the story behind the Headless Men? Why is it called that? Because in the early 20th century, when the British first arrived, they found two men's corpses. Neither had a head, and so they named the valley the Headless Men Valley. No one knows who beheaded them, but both were locals, so it was likely the doing of other local groups. And why is the area so restricted? Because the waterfall there is sacred to the indigenous people. The Canadian government limited it as a national reserve to keep it preserved for them. Canada and the US have many such regions, usually remote and sparsely populated. You won't find these restricted indigenous lands in places like New York, San Francisco, or the best parts of Texas. But in remote areas, they're plentiful. Now, let's go to the next location, Surtsey Island, a volcanic island south of Iceland. The most interesting thing about Surtsey is, it's not old at all. Due to an underwater volcanic eruption, layers of material stacking up and eventually creating the island. The underwater volcano erupted for 4 whole years, pushing material upward until finally it broke through the surface. This kind of event rarely happens on Earth. So when the island emerged, scientists around the world went crazy. Dozens of researchers volunteered to go study it and witness something never seen before. Surtsey is now nearly 70 years old, but still, no one is allowed to set foot on it, except scientists, and only with special permits. The Icelandic government protects it so strictly that even scientists must bring a special container so their urine and feces can be collected and removed from the island. Even peeing there is forbidden, so we can't go there either. Let's move on to another island group, a cluster of 4 islands called the Pitcairn Islands. All 4 volcanic, but only one is inhabited by a grand total of, 35 people. This is one of the least populated places on Earth. If you plan to go there, you might as well give up. It's easier to reach Antarctica. There's no airport and no proper harbor. The waters are shallow and filled with sharp rocks. Any ship getting close would get destroyed. The only way to reach it is by longboat. A longboat has no engine, so when supplies arrive, a ship stops several kilometers offshore, and the longboats go fetch the cargo. Not every ship is allowed either. Since the island belongs to Britain, only a British ship comes, anchors offshore, and the longboats go out to meet it. If passengers are aboard, they also transfer using the longboats. Now, who are these 35 people living there? Why stay in such a remote, difficult place? They are Polynesians, the original inhabitants of the island. As you know, Polynesians explored and settled islands across the Pacific, from Hawaii to New Zealand. Over. Next remote location, Russia. The town of Oymyakon. Oymyakon is the coldest inhabited town on Earth. People live there generation after generation. It lies in eastern Siberia, in a valley surrounded by mountains and glaciers. These glaciers trap the cold air, preventing it from escaping. Even in summer, they don't allow a single warm breeze to enter. This is the coldest permanently inhabited place in the world. You might say, but people live in Antarctica too. True, but not permanently, and not in a town. The coldest recorded temperature in Oymyakon is negative 67.7 degrees Celsius, recorded in 1933. Locals claim that in 1924, the temperature hit negative 71.2 degrees Celsius, but there's no official proof. Interestingly, negative 71 degrees Celsius is the average temperature on Mars. Back in the 1920s and 30s, Oymyakon had about 2,500 people. Today, only about 900 remain. How do you get to this town? There's no air. There are no real roads either. It's so remote, no proper roads were built. You can travel over frozen terrain, but the driver needs GPS-level knowledge of the area. Today, modern GPS helps, but in the past you needed a local expert. And here's the fun part. Once a car arrives, you cannot turn it off. If you do, it freezes solid. Enough freezing. Let's go somewhere hot, the empty quarter desert of Arabia. Its name fits perfectly, because it truly is empty. Summers are scorching and dry, and winters are both hot and cold and brutal. You may see a giant sand dune today, and tomorrow it's gone. Sandstorms constantly reshape the landscape, so living there is nearly impossible. The people seen there are tribes of the Arabian Peninsula, passing through, not living permanently. Another dangerous remote region lies on the Pakistan-China border, home to the world's second tallest mountain, K2. K2 is about 250 meters shorter than Everest, but far more dangerous. For every 5 climbers attempting the summit, 1 dies. That's a 20% death rate. Everest's is around 1%. Compared to K2, Everest is simple. If you've seen the documentary The Dawn Wall, you might know Goran Krop, an adventurer who created challenges for himself. He managed to climb K2, adding another unbelievable achievement to his record. K2 is incredibly difficult because you climb vertical frozen walls, not slopes. These ice walls can crack, sending climbers plummeting. The mountain's terrifying slopes also make avalanches extremely likely. If a climber wants to ascend K2, they must first complete a long, difficult approach just to reach the base. Because of all this, although tens of thousands of climbers exist worldwide, only about 100 attempt K2 each year. Most give up early or never attempt it at all. In 2025, within the first 11 months, only 42 climbers reach. And even then, several died. As equipment improves and satellites give better weather support, fatalities decrease. But in the past, climbers went blind into danger. So what's at the summit? Why endure all this? There's no fancy restaurant up there, no famous dish waiting. We're joking. There's nothing at the top. It's simply a challenge, a brutal goal that adventurers choose. And when they reach it, they gain nothing but pride and joy.